Welcome back, guys. Just a quick one. Thought I'd get a quick Tones at Home episode in. Obviously, this one from the intro playing shots is out in the other space that I have set up with my Lodestar and my big pedal board. After the last episode and, you know, talking about whether it's worth the setup of having 2 amps in this space, and I kind of said that's a bit tricky, and yeah, really just questioning was it worth it. I think you'll agree the stereo is a totally different story. What you heard on the playing clips on the intro, I pinched my son's little Peavey Rage 15. It was originally mine when I was first learning guitar. It's endured long enough that I've been able to give it to him. And anyway, from the pedal board shot, and I'll put a clip of that in, I've basically split the signal courtesy of the Free the Tone Future Factory and into stereo, and then gone into the Source Audio Ventris, also in stereo, and out of the Source Audio Ventris, the reverb pedal, into my Ditto looper in stereo, and then from the looper out to the 2 amps. To avoid any phase or ground issues, fortunately with that setup there doesn't seem to be any phase issues, and there is a ground issue when you have the amps not plugged into the same power source. I had that 2 amps plugged into the same power board and coming from the same power source, so that removed any ground issues. On to stereo. What a different story that is compared to just having 2 amps in a room. 2 amps in a room sound fantastic. Having 2 amps out here is slightly impractical at the moment. I'm going to look at a way to probably make that less impractical, but that's a whole nother story. Stereo amps. No trickery in the audio recorded with this Tones at Home episode. Basically, it's the camera. It's got a little Rode shotgun mic on top of it. No door. What you hear is basically entirely what the camera picked up. So hoping that translates, because in the room it's quite immersive. Hearing the stereo delays ping pong was amazing. Apologies for the same loop. I may or may have not borrowed it from Jason Isbell, a song called Cover Me Up. But anyway, it's a nice open D little loop that I had going on, and the bottom end of the Lodestar really fills out the room. And then Surprisingly, the little Peavey adds something to the sound. It's quite mid-rangey. It's just a cheap amp, inexpensive, solid state, but set cleanly with the Lodestar. Really just added something different to the sound, which was quite pleasing. So. Something different to the sound, which was quite pleasing. So it was quite interesting to hear those results, you know, without banging on about, oh, it's got to be tube amp or valve amp, depending where you are. Obviously the majority of the sound reinforcement was with the Lodestar, but yeah, the Peavey surprisingly added something nice to the overall sound. Let me know what you think. Stereo is super addictive, and it'd be fun to figure out a way to get that happening out here in this little space. That might mean a different pedal board compared to the standard pedal board I leave sitting out in here, so I can do that. Anyway, just a quick one, following on from the last episode on 2 amps and was it worth it. Anyway, any questions, fire them down below in the comments. Anything that I could have done better, notwithstanding that it wasn't in this space for recording where I have the door and the interface and everything. It was just solely the tones from the camera. I'd like to hear it, because it'd be great to be able to do some on-the-fly recording like that more often and get some good sound results. Thanks for tuning in again. This was Stereo Amps in a different space in the home, and I'll see you again soon with some more content. Cheers, bye.